Today's video is the last video in this playlist that has to do with percent and percent word problems. This is the problem of the day on page 19. It says, write an algebraic equation that can be used to get the answer in one step. So we've seen these several times on the last few videos. Here's an example that's done for you. The total cost T of an item. The cost of some item is C. Oh, but they said, yes, the cost of the item is C. To get the total, you're going to use T. The discount is 30%, the sales tax is 8%, and the markup is 75%. So you can see in this example that to get to the total cost, it's not asking me what is the discount, what is the sales tax, and what is the markup. Just what are you going to pay at the very end? That's all I want to know. So yes, you're starting with that 100%. And if it's a discount, you're subtracting the discount, right, to get the 70%. You're adding the tax to the 100 to get the total tax. And you are adding the markup to 100 to get the cost that you're going to pay for that item that's being marked up by 75%. That's a lot. So here's the equation for that example, finding total cost. So T equals, and there's either the fractional version or the decimal version shown here. T equals 7/10 times 1 800ths. So 7/10 is the discount. 1 800ths is the tax, and 1 7500ths times C. That 1 7500ths is my markup. So one equation, whatever the cost of the item, multiplied by 7/10, 1 800ths, and 1 7500ths. Now I want you to do the same thing, follow the example, for these questions. You're finding the total cost. So you're going to write a T equals for number 9, 11, 13, and 15. And then explain the difference between an expression and an equation on the bottom. So that's for you to do in the video. So pause the video and do this page. On the next page, Skylar is answering the following math problem. The value of an investment decreased by 10%. The original amount of the investment was $75. What is the current value of the investment? Well, Skylar said 10% of 75 is $750, and since the investment decreased by that amount, you have to subtract $750 from the $75 to arrive at the final answer of $67.50. Create one algebraic equation, that can be used to arrive at the final answer of $67.50, which, by the way, Skylar is correct. Solve the equation to prove its results in an answer of $67.50. Be prepared to explain your thought process to the class. So I know that if it's a decrease of 10%, 100 minus that 10 is going to give me the 90%. So I'm going to, in one equation, the total would equal 90%, 9/10, times the original cost, 75, or the original investment of $75. I believe that's the one algebraic equation that when you multiply 9/10 times 75, yes, and it says solve the equation, so I'm going to. 9/10 times 75 will get you 67.5, which is $67.50. So subtracting the decrease from the 100 first, and then multiplying by the 90% will get you in one equation the answer, $67.50. Skylar wanted to show the proportional relationship between the dollar value of the original investment, X. So this is the original money. So this is the investment. and its value after a 10% decrease. And this would be the 10% decrease. Why? He creates this table of values shown. Does it model the relationship? Explain. Then provide a correct equation for the relationship Skylar wants to model. Well, that's kind of telling me it must not be right. So let's look. If I decrease $75 by 10%, I know from part A that I should have a $67.50 here for my Y. Oh, he's just finding the 10% decrease in this table, right? Because 10% of 100 is 10, and 10% of 200 would be 20. Oh, he's just finding the decrease. He's not finding the value after the decrease. Does it model the relationship? No. He is finding only the 10% decrease. It's not after the decrease, right? He's only showing the original investment times the 10% of what is the decrease. He needs to subtract that first. So he is finding only the 10% decrease. Provide a correct equation. Well, I did it up here. It's 9/10. So using the variables in the table, the cost or his investment will be worth 90%, right? He's got to do the 100 minus the 10 to get the 90%. That's really what he should have. 90% of the X, the original investment. So if I do 90% of 100, yep, I'm going to get $90 here. If I do 90% of 200, I'm going to get $180. If I do 90% of 300, I'm going to get $270. If I do 90% of 400, I'm going to get $360. That's what the table that he should have made looks like. So using that equation, he would get that table. Lee sells electronics. He earns a 5% commission on each sale that he makes. Write an equation that shows the proportional relationship between the dollar amount of the electronics that Lee sells, D, and the amount of money he makes in commission, C. So he makes a 5% commission. So his commission is 5% of the dollars that he sells, right? Right. Express the constant of proportionality as a decimal. Well, there it is. Every time it's a rate, he's going to get 5 cents on each dollar that he sells. So that's the rate, 5 cents per dollar. That's the constant of proportionality. So that constant of proportionality is equal to 5/100ths. Explain what the constant of proportionality means. Oh, I just did. He's going to get, Lee will earn 5 cents per, oh, I better put labels on this, per dollar sold. So he will earn 5 cents per $1 sold. That's the rate. If Lee wants to make $100 in commission, what is the dollar amount of electronics that he needs to sell? So I'm going to go back to A, his commission, use that equation. Commission equals 5 cents per every dollar that he sells. Well, he got $100 in commission. He didn't sell $100, he got $100 in commission. That goes in where the C is. So $100 is 5% of what? Well, if I divide by 5%, 100 divided by 0.05, I'm going to get that he should have to sell $200 would be his would be his dollars that he would have to sell. That would be the D. What is the dollar amount of electronics he must sell? Lee must sell, so I'm going to sable that. $2,000. 5% of 2,000 gives you that 100. Lee must sell $2,000 in electronics. And I could say to earn $100 commission, but I'm going to stop there. And that's it for today's video.